Morning, everyone. Hope everybody's had a good week. Winter's kind of rearing its head, showing us it can get cold out there. It hadn't got very cold, real cold, but it can get there. I know my son, he's supposed to come back from Lafayette, Illinois on the 21st. And that day in Illinois, it's going to be -3 degrees when he's coming back. So, yeah. And so it's pretty chilly up there. But yeah, I wanted to tell people out on Facebook tonight that we're having a Christmas celebration. So anybody who wants to come here and celebrate with us with some good singing, they're more than welcome, more invited. And after praising, we're going to go back and have some finger foods and some punch or something to drink. So anybody watching this is more than welcome to come as well. But no, I've found that I watched. I want to remind people too that also the 21st is going to be something. 45 minutes after sunset, you'll be able to see the Bethlehem star that hasn't been seen since 1207 AD. So it's been a long time since they've been. So there's no pictures of it. They have some images close to it, but as far as the thing actually being saw, they didn't have cameras back then. So apparently you can't take a picture if you don't have something to take it with you. But anyway, so we might mark that on your calendar, and like I say, it's something you ain't never going to see in your lifetime again. That's a long time ago. But I have been, like I say, I listened to a lot of passion, a lot of preaching, and I was kind of floored by one of them I listened to, because this guy, his message, it wasn't him preaching, it was another guy reading his message. This message was read in 1740. And it was by a man named Jonathan Edwards that written this. He was one of the first people, and I'm keeping an eye on 1740. That's before he became a country. So we were still colonies at that time. So this is the old school message that he brought the Bible to the United States. And I listened to him and I realized how much we have watered down the Bible and all that we do. I mean, it's everybody's just, they're too afraid to offend people. They want people to feel comfortable, and they don't want people to, hear the truth. And I preached a while back, or a few weeks ago, about the wrath of God, about Jesus coming to save us from the wrath of God. But also I wanted to preach too about the glory of God. Because that's what a lot of things, if we've just been so blinded by not having the glory of God in our life that we don't know what it feels like. We think we do. We get little crumbs here and there, but it's actually the glory of God. Because if we felt the true glory of God, then it wouldn't be so easy for us to wander away from it. And I say that with people nowadays, as you see them around town, riding bicycles, 40, 50-year-old men riding bicycles and stuff around town, which I'm not talking down about nobody, okay? I could be just right beside them if I would have made some choices myself that way. But the thing is, though, is it's so easily distracted, getting taken away from the glory of God, because if you don't have the full glory of it, it's so easy to get distracted. My wife calls them shiny things for myself. Because when we're talking, she'll tell me, she'll say, hey, and I'll be sitting there talking, listening to her, and all of a sudden I'll hear something and I'll look off. And she's like, shiny things. So that's when I tell her, hey, you told me this. She said, you don't remember me telling you this? I'm like, was the TV on? And she's like, yeah. I said, well, that's probably the reason I didn't hear you, because my folk, guys and women, if you got a male in your life, you know how easy we get distracted. We're like a cat, We're sitting there, we're focusing on something, so we hear something, just look, we don't. And so that's the way a lot of our faiths are nowadays. We're easily distracted with it. And it's just so easy to veer off that road. And so I'm going to try to start bringing back some of the glory of God, the wrath of God, and try to make it less watered down. And tell you what God really wants us to hear in this Bible. You know, he didn't flood the world and kill Sodom and Gomorrah just, you know, because he wanted to. It's because we're easily distracted like that, and we need to get focused back onto it and away from this world, because that's the separation that we have to have. I said it last week, that's the separation we have to have between this world and heaven, because we have to live in this world. We have to live in this world. Till we die, we have to live in this world. But we don't have to be part of it. This is not us. We're separate from this world, and we need to keep ourselves separate from this world and keep ourselves separate to God. And by that is focusing on the glory of God. And I misled Brother Art here on my deal. I flipped them backwards. If I'm going to start in 2 Corinthians. And also, 2 Corinthians, that's right. 2 Corinthians chapter 5. And I think I told you 4. I did tell you 4. I told you 4. I found something in 4, but I found something more I wanted in 5. In chapter 5, 2 Corinthians, starting with verse 7, it says, "We live by faith, not by sight. We're confident, I say, and I would prefer to be away from the body at home with the Lord. We make it our goal to please Him, whether we are at home in the body or away from it. For we must appear before judgment seat Christ, that each one of us receive what is due for him the things done while in the body, whether good or bad." Now, and that's showing that we have to rely on the glory of God for us, because we're going to be judged for all that we do. And we're going to, it's kind of like a pastor I was listening to him, and he said that if he woke up in hell, he would not blame God. He said, that hurt. You know, this guy, he's moved on to be with God. His name's R.C. Sproul, if you ever get a chance to listen to him. But he said that, you know, if he woke up and he was in hell, he would understand it because of what he did. I did this to myself. The things I sinned for, but I have to rely on God's glory and God's mercy and God's grace to forgive me for that, to give me His mercy, because without it, I'm judged. And but over here, skip back over to 4. I'm going to go back to it. Right there at verse 1, chapter 4, it says, "Therefore, since through God's mercy we have this ministry, we do not lose heart. Rather, we renounce secret and shameful ways. We do not use deception, nor we distort the word of God. On the contrary, by setting forth the truth, plainly condemn ourselves to every man's consensus in the sight of God. Even though our gospel is veiled, it is veiled for those who are perishing. The God of this age has blinded the God of this age has blinded the minds of unbelievers, so that they cannot see the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is an image of God. For we do not preach ourselves, but Jesus Christ as Lord, and ourselves as your servants for Jesus' sake. For God, who said, 'Let the light shine out of darkness,' made the light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of our glory of God of the face of Christ. Now, it says right here in 2, rather we have renounced secret and shameful ways, we do not use deception. But that's the thing about it, is people have used deceptive ways. Because I really want y'all to, because I talk to people and I tell them about listening to the gospel and everything. And people's like, yeah, man, I listen to T.D. Jakes. You know, I listen to Joyce Myers. I listen to these people. And I'm sorry, they might be behind the pulpit. They might have a large following. They might have millions of dollars. But they're not preaching the glory of God. This New Age gospel, they're preaching the glory of a human being. They're teaching you how to be a good human being and how your sin doesn't affect you. Because all you have to do is say the Lord's Prayer and you just go about living your life. You just live your life however you want it and you're going to be saved. That's that simple. And that's not the truth. You know, and for them to stand behind the pulpit and tell people this, I mean, that's very, very proud and boastful. You know, that's blasphemy. You're taking the word of God, but you're supposed to be up here telling people what they need to hear, what their soul needs to hear, not just their ears. I'm not here to tickle your ears. I'm here to try to save your life, save your soul. Because if I wasn't, I'd be a liar. I don't want to be a liar. I want to be up here telling you the truth. And I want to tell you what it is that I read in this book that I want you to read as well and take it to your heart and feel the glory of God. Feel that when you do something good in your life, you're doing it for the glory of God. You're not doing it for yourself. A lot of times we do that. Brother Tom used to tell a story about a guy that would go into United and he'd buy somebody a sandwich. And then he'd boast about it. I bought that man something to eat. I did. That's what a lot of us like doing, is beating our chest, talking about how we're a man. You know, we're a man. We can do this. I'm a man. I can do that. No, you're a child of God. And you need to realize everything that we do for somebody needs to be in secret. We don't need to tell the world that we tied 10%, 20%, whatever it is. We don't need to tell the world that. We don't need to tell the world when we take and we donate money to St. Jude's or some other worthy cause. Or if we help a homeless man, or we change a tire for a woman we see broke down on the side of the street. We need to do that for the glory of God. And everything we do, if we examine our lives like we're supposed to, we do it for the glory of God. We don't do it for us. I don't stand behind this pulpit. I don't post this stuff on Facebook for myself. It's not about me. I don't care if I get 1 million views, if I get 1. I'm here for the glory of God. And these tears I have, they're not tears of sadness, these are tears of joy, being honored by God, where I can stand behind this pulpit and tell people. You know what the #1 phobia is in the United States or in the world? You know how people have phobia of claustrophobia, arachnophobia, you know phobias? You know what the #1 phobia is? Public speaking. Public speaking. Standing behind this pulpit and talking to y'all is the #1 phobia in the world. And God blessed me with the ability to do that. Amen. And to preach His word and to try to tell you that I do this for the glory of God. I do it for the glory of this church. I do it for the love that He's bestowed upon me and the friends and the things that He's blessed me with in my life. I humbled myself to Him. And that's what we all need to do, is humble ourselves to God and quit acting like we're part of this world and realize that we're part of the heaven above us that we'll soon be in. We don't know when in the next day. We don't know if we have tomorrow. We don't know this. But we act like we do. We act like we got unlimited time. We act like we don't know. Oh, we're going to live forever. Everybody acts that way, like we're going to live forever. Ashley didn't know when she was going to have leukemia. She didn't know when she was going to have her stroke. Josie didn't know when she was going to have her stroke. I'm sorry I'm pointing you out. But that's what it is. And she could have died from that. They could have died from that. God could have took them on, but He didn't. He left them here for a reason. And that is for them to show the glory of God to everyone else. Everything we do above breathing is for the glory of God. Because God gives us that breath to keep us alive for His glory. And if you turn over here to Romans chapter 9. Chapter 9, verse 22. It says, what if God, choosing to show His wrath and make His power known, bore with the great patience in the object of His wrath, prepared for destruction? What if He did this to make the riches of His glory known to the objects of His mercy, whom He prepared in advance for glory? Whom He prepared in advance for His glory. I mean, this is God choosing to show His wrath, His power, but instead, because like I say, He flooded the world. He smashed Sodom and Gomorrah where there wasn't a stone left. He could do that again, but right now He's going to show His glory, and He's given us that opportunity. And right now, this country is so ashamed of God that we cannot stand up to 6% of the population that are making all these laws and rules and everything else, telling us that we're a bigot, that we don't believe in we're Nazis. We got to understand that they want to be called it, they. That's what we're doing right now. We're sitting there and we're letting 6% of the world tell us how to feel and making us ashamed of being a Christian because we say, you know what? My Bible says, my God says, my faith says that what you're doing in your life is wrong, but I'm not here to judge you. I'm not, and I'm not going to judge you. But I have the right to say that I don't have to agree with it. I have that right to say I do not agree with what you're doing. And to tell our children, you're not a cat. You're not a dog. I mean, that's how confused our kids are nowadays. They can't even tell what they are. They're wanting to identify as all these different things. They can't even identify as a child, a boy or a girl. How sad is that? I mean, that's sad. That's how far we have gotten away from the glory of God. And I'm going long-winded on this one, but I just want y'all to read in that and realize that next time you do anything you do, just realize you're doing it for the glory of God. And I'm going to leave it a little lighter note. I heard this joke. It's about the modern generation. Little boy comes in at the table, sits on the table, says, Dad. He says, I'm a cat. The dad says, no, you're not, you're a little boy. He says, no, Dad, I'm a cat. So Dad reaches over and rolls a paper up, shoos him off the table. He said, cats don't eat on the table, they eat on the floor. So the kid's like, what? He said, yeah, cats eat on the floor. Next time you go back, you use that litter box over there. And he said, you know what, never mind. He said, he told the wife, he said, wife, take that cat outside. We don't need a house cat. He needs to stay out in the barn and hunt mice. And by the way, tomorrow take that cat and go get it neutered. The little boy says, but no, Dad, I'm a boy. And he said, well, get up at the table and eat then. I thank y'all and I love y'all.